we just can't do the.
I'm out of it, man. Go for it. I see it.
It's very you. It sounds fun.
But this is.
If you want to use my shitless photos, you said that you're Tinder dates.
It's not a Tinder date. It's views, man.
Dates, baby.
Views, mija. Views, mija. Get in the
I have
camera.
some nice photos of
Gary.
me this time.
You
in
gotta
my
make
life.
sure you're telling him what to do. You're the producer, man.
More? Around.
Gary, welcome. Lubin's just sending a text message.
Hold
Don't
on.
mind us.
How's this now? What if you turn the camera a little bit? No? You won't see him anymore?
No, you won't see me.
Oh.
I'm like the.
Yes.
Yeah, just tuck yourself in, man. Man, McGeary, you got some ugly ass feet. Though.
Yeah, they are. I like those.
Yeah,
but
those are some fucking.
So that's the last thing you want to see coming out your face, though.
Yeah, that's
For
fair.
2 reasons. 1, they sick. 2, they'll hurt.
Pirate feet. And I did a jump off the couch, body kick.
Two.
No.
Just the air.
No, on a human. Yeah.
Nice.
At work.
No.
Okay.
And the private training session.
Nice. Ooh, private training. That's the start to a porno.
Damn. No, I wouldn't do man-on-man porno.
That's where you're.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, like
He just said another kick to the chest, like you were
Yeah.
training with somebody.
Yeah.
Training session. It could be with a woman. You can train with a woman.
Fair enough. I'm training a man, so that was why my head.
it's like that thing.
Pride Month, though.
Oh, yeah. And I'm proud to be the black everything.
Have you ever seen that video where the guy's for $1 million and I'm sucking it and he's what? Wait, yeah, I didn't even finish answering the question. For $1 million, I'm sucking it.
Okay, so are we starting over from the beginning here, or are we starting as soon as you
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do for $1 million?
Fuck, I mean, we'll get to that
later. We'll be
if
able
I
to...
had $1 million, bare naked ladies. Okay, McGeary, welcome to our first premiere episode of the Conversationalists with Ryan and Rich. How you feeling? It's hot as it's hot as fuck in this room. This is for the audience considered the spare bedroom studios, aka this is in my spare bedroom, and it is a studio.
Or
Top
you just
notch
decorated it
Yeah.
to look like a spare bedroom.
Yeah.
But it's the illusion
Yeah.
that you guys were all here. In
I
the spare
took
bedroom.
I took all the tops off my lamps and spread them out around the room, and that's how we're getting this light.
It worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
It's cheaper.
If I get any more
Fine.
equipment,
Big setup, we're good.
if I get any more equipment, I'm gonna be on White House sucking dick for bus change. Oh, buddy, this is almost virtual panhandling here, but what do I know? But here we are. I hope everybody's not too hot. Let's have a little cheers here.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
You too.
Cheers, Jamie, L Dog. We have our guy in the back.
I know.
We got our guy in the back. Mr. Lawson is the producer.
Do you want it? Do you want it?
ML is the name they gave him.
ML?
You already know.
No.
It's like
Yeah, he'll be able to hear it. I actually have a question for you. What do you think of McGregor pulling out of the Poirier fight?
Let's dive right into it. We're not even gonna take time. We're jumping right in.
How they are saying it now in the narrative is like this guy's never dodged a fight. So he's fought on like a torn ACL. He's fought on like a stress fracture. Does this affect his lineage at all? Or do you think injuries are a big thing?
To answer your first question, this is the first time I'm hearing about this fight and him pulling out of the fight.
No. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first time you're saying it. So that I don't know, man. What it?
Pereira is stepping in now.
Okay.
And to fight, can you find it? UFC? UFC something.
Their ML?
He's fighting, Pereira's fighting the championship. This was like, didn't he just fight? I feel like he just fought Jamal Hill at 300.
So this is an opportunity for him to have 2 championships?
No, this is he's defending.
He'll just be defending.
Yuri.
That's badass.
Yuri, the guy with the fucking head deal.
Yeah.
This is the sport that I follow, also one of the least, so I can't really contribute too much.
Well, let's get into that.
Yeah, so I don't know what his reasons are for pulling out. And as the second question, but whether it matters to his lineage, nah, man. The dude has millions on millions of dollars. This fight doesn't really, I don't think he's doing this, he was doing that fight for money. Or maybe he was, I don't know.
For any kind of like skill or like maybe obviously
His reputation, anything? Yeah.
But I think like, mostly at this point in time, he's like McGregor is probably fighting strictly just to get money.
Nowhere. Dude,
Do you think he's protecting legacy?
But do you think he still has something to prove?
No. Dana White came on a press conference and he said once someone reached that certain amount of money, it's hard to get them to fight because, like if they're not protecting lineage or they're not going for a legacy, once you get to that amount, I can dodge fights, I can choose my opponents because I'm worth so much to the UFC that I can choose for. Whereas you have people that are chomping at the bit and grinding, where they're picking the first guy that they're given.
Who I want to fight, who has something in the sport, and now it's 12 years. I'm not walking into a ring with my fist. I'm sorry. I'm not to say that, yeah, sure. I have nothing I know for a fact this man is the champ. He was the greatest. Am I trying to take away his legacy or be the one to end his legacy? No, I'm not. Because this man still hits like a brick shit house. He's strong as hell. And to go into the ring with somebody like Jake Paul, I don't see Jake. You are going to get murdered in this ring. I don't know what you're thinking, except for the fact, hey, I'm doing this for money. I'm doing this strictly for money, and I'm just going to try to bring money to the sport, money for myself, money for Mike. But it's I know if I went in there, yeah, sure, I'd want a substantial amount of money for my broken face. I know for a fact this man is the champ. He was the greatest. Am I trying to take away his legacy or be the one to end his legacy? No, I'm not. Because this man still hits like a brick shit house. He's strong as hell. And to go into the ring with somebody like Jake Paul, I don't see Jake. You are going to get murdered in this ring. I don't know what you're thinking, except for the fact, hey, I'm doing this for money. I'm doing this strictly for money, and I'm just going to try to bring money to the sport, money for myself, money for Mike. But I know if I went in there, yeah, sure, I'd want a substantial amount of money for my broken face after I wake up in a hospital, and my opponents are like, I want money too.
Well, and to add on to that, is it actually going to be a real bout, or are you going to find out it's a 10-round fight, but and to add on to that, is it actually going to be a real bout, or are you going to find out it's a 10-round fight, but it's an exhibition? And it's not actually when he fought Mayweather. Logan Paul fought Mayweather. It wasn't actually a sanctioned bout by the athletic commission. Yeah. It was just an exhibition fight, and it was 10 rounds.
There was gonna be no winner regardless.
People.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Lots of people are paying money for that. This is true.
What are you looking at?
Yeah, don't question it.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean about with this whole Logan Paul thing. When they were doing it, they weren't going to be making any money. Does Mayweather really need X amount of dollars for that fight? At that point, if a guy like Logan Paul is coming to me and saying, I want to fight you, you were the champ, and he says, but you're going to get a couple $1 million out of this, I'm like, you're not going to walk out of this. I'm not letting you come in the ring and give me money.
I think a lot of people, though, once you start throwing hundreds of millions of dollars,
it's not a charity event. But money's not going to some sort of charity, man. This is me as a champion. You're telling me you are the champ at the top of your game.
This was Gordon Ramsay's non-negotiables, and one of them is don't take it professionally, not personally. So when this guy fought, Ben Askren probably knew this guy was going to get knocked out. I can take this personally and look at all the social media hate I'm going to get, blah, 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 blah. Then some people look at it in that way. Even you look at Poirier and they're talking about whether or not he's going to retire and he has so much left in the tank. And I fought so much to the point now where it doesn't matter about the money. I'm going to get fucking CTE and I won't be able to take care of my children.
So then don't accept the fight if somebody gives you one. That's my point. So somebody's going to say to Mayweather or to Tyson, I want to fight you, and I'm at this age in the game. Either I'm coming out there swinging, or I'm not coming out there at all. What is the point?
And that's just athletes' morals, though. But that's the same thing. That's the same thing when refs and players are throwing basketball games. It's they're already making millions and millions of dollars. Right. Then you say, but then a basketball player is going to risk his whole career on $1,500 parlay. But you say, what's the influence with that? And how much is this guy actually making decisions? How many people do you think are talking to Mike Tyson on a daily basis? I would say hundreds. Yeah. So imagine how conflicted this guy is and how many different directions. Maybe his coaches are like, Mike, you got it, man. You got it. Maybe his fucking family, maybe his agent is, I'm going to make fucking millions off this if you sign this deal. So you have to look at all these like extenuating factors of once you're pulled in all these different directions, how much do you lose your autonomy? And the guy never makes his own fucking decisions.
You don't know that though. You're not lying.
No, but I'm just saying once you get to that level of superstardom, there has to be some level of you always have an entourage. You always have someone calling you every day.
No, I don't think. I think that's a case-to-case situation or a person-to-person situation. Not everyone is like that. Some people have an entourage of 2 people. MC Hammer, for example, had an entourage of 50 people to 100 people. I watched something the other day where they were talking about that. His brother, he was a true gangster or something in the sense of being a gangster in the United States. And it's mostly his brother who is affiliated with some sort of gangs. But at the same time, he rolled in an entourage of multiple people. And why is that? I don't know. But it has to do with something about the way he was raised and the background and the people that he's with. Where I don't think that is the same with every single person. For example, Conor McGregor, they won the Dallas series, and he was out there's a video of him on the Egg Wave. Buying booze, and he's not rolling with anybody. It's just him and his wife.
No, but look at the backlash where they're like, why the fuck doesn't this guy have security?
True, but this is the thing. He is leaving a hockey game, going to his house in the city that he lives in and plays hockey. So Mike Tyson goes on a flight. How many people do you think are going with him?
Oh,
do you think he's flying commercial, or do you think he's flying private?
Private, with like at least 10 guys.
Okay, there's a video of him on a commercial flight, and someone's mouthing off Mike, and what happens?
He smashes
the dude. Now, you're going to tell me that Mike's got an entourage? Does he need an entourage at the age that he's at, taking a commercial flight? Give me a break. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Google says he's worth 10 mil.
So, okay, he's doing it
for apparently,
but still, now you have a hungry man who wants money and is going to fight
bankrupt.
And he is not just any guy. He is a former heavyweight champion of the world in the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
If you want to face this guy,
and then Jake Paul says
$30 million. You think you're going to walk out of there?
I think Jake Paul probably offered him $100 million to fucking
stipulations. Or we're gonna go the distance.
Yeah, and you can't. Some people have no knockout clause where you can't knock me out.
And that's where I disagree. If I was Mike Tyson and Jake Paul said this to me, I'd be like, "You're not gonna walk out of the ring in one piece." Fact, because you're challenging me. You're throwing it out there.
Yeah, but
if I was in my prime and you're throwing $100 million, I'm still gonna fight you for the $100 million.
But
now I'm 50 something or however old he is.
Yeah.
And you're gonna tell me that I'm not gonna fight you for $100 million? Nah, man.
No, but what is crazy too though is that people also aren't recognizing that like a lot of hate goes into the Paul brothers and stuff like that, where you actually have like very high level tier boxing personalities that are saying, oh, this guy's legit.
I've heard that he was quite the wrestler when he was doing his WWE.
But even like guys, a lot of MMA dudes and stuff are saying like,
yeah, he's an athlete.
They're saying like, not only that, like this guy's a high tier boxer and you can't take that away. Yes, he's going against the greatest boxer of all time. But it's like this guy's showing up. He fought the likes of Anderson Silva. But then you say, how many of these bouts are rigged? Because it's all under his own promotion, MVP Promotions. Okay. So you say it's under his own promotion. So he's dictating basically everything. He's paying everybody, etc., etc. So you say this guy calls the shots. So with that, you say like, how many of these fights are legitimate?
I have actually a buddy who hangs out with him and says that he's like a solid dude. Him and Logan are tight. Not to the point where they call each other every day, but they're involved in some sort of business venture and they get along very well. He says he's a very cool, down-to-earth guy. But at the same time, if you have the money, okay? You're millionaire. Sure. Are you not going to train every day with the best of the best to get to the top of the game if you had the opportunity? If that was the route you wanted to go. If that was the route that you wanted to go, saying you actually want to do this professionally at the very highest level that you can, would you not go see the best coaches and take the time every day and go to those gyms and get that training? Absolutely. That's what I mean. So you see, it's like Logan Paul, for example, he has the time, he has the money. I'm sure if you called him up right now, he's probably like just chilling with some boys or doing whatever, or he's training. But if I had millions of dollars as well, if I had the money, I had the time, this is what my life actually was, like a professional in any field that you're in, you're going to work harder. You're going to want to be successful.
But you're tackling it from a super moral high ground.
No, I'm not. I'm handling it from a perspective of a person
But your mindset is so much different to the person that's corrupted by social media and only thinks dollar signs. So like what you're thinking isn't wrong. People that are sucked into that lifestyle, it's like how quickly does your mindset become super diluted based on the fuckheads that you're hanging around with? Say you go to a commune or a cult. How long do you have to be in that cult before you get sucked into the void?
How long do you think?
Like, how long do you think, or would you be resistant? Would you, do you think, like, you're the type of person that would try to escape? Or would you be like, I'm just trying to survive?
You went down to Thailand.
Yeah.
Okay. How long did it take you to get sucked into that world of Muay Thai and everything like that?
Or just the culture of the lady boys.
To go see
The lady boys.
you and I was down there to go see what it was all about. When you got down there, what was that experience like? How did that change your mindset on things? You were doing everything here, but you went down there. Obviously, you learned some new things, and then what did you take away from that? Did that change everything for you?
I didn't say really change everything. What it did was just reinforce things that I've already found. I already had a love for martial arts. And I already had the love for traveling. And something I always wanted to do was travel and train and travel and learn some kind of martial art.
But when you went down there, it was like, it's almost like a camp where you're living there as well.
Well, that wasn't my experience. That is an experience a lot of people do.
You went on like a boys trip, did you not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you went on a boys trip.
Yeah,
But then you also did the training when you were down.
correct.
Yeah.
I spent like a week of it, of just training and hanging out.
So when you were there and you were training, like you weren't obviously, would you get up and hang out with the guy, like your friend that you went down on a trip with, or would you get up and train and meet up with them? What was the itinerary?
So actually, to train, I stopped and I stayed with a friend of mine, and the rest of the guys left him into a different country.
Okay.
And they continued traveling. So I stayed with a friend of mine that was living there. And so I just took up his schedule. So we'd get up in the morning and training started at 7 a.m.
Oh, so you would just mirror him.
It was just me and him.
Yeah. You mirror him. Like you would just follow whatever he's doing. Like you would.
Well, for the most
schedule
part, for the
of
morning part, because we would get up and then we'd hang out, have a bar or something to eat, something to talk for a bit. Because training was at 7, so we'd be up at 6 a.m.
Okay.
And then it was so fun, man. Just got a little scooter, scooted down the road for 10 minutes, and then we'd be at the gym.
Okay.
And then we'd go and then we'd start training for like 2 hours, 3 hours. We would train.
So you're training for, let's say, not
From like 7 till 9, 7 till 10 around that before the sun got too hot.
Okay.
And so we train, and it was so awesome. Some of the best training because everybody I trained with was from a different country every time. There was the mats, and then 10 feet from the mats, there's living quarters. So there's people that were living here. They're coming out and training. They would just wake up, come out the doors, and come on the mat and start training. And it was like different people from different ages because there's like some younger kids that were staying there too that their parents had brought them because maybe it was like a summer or 6 months or something.
So it's like they were sending them to like this Muay Thai camp.
Yeah, and they would leave them there for 6 months. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There was people who were there for like a year and a half. There were kids that were from like 9 to 15 or whatever. Their parents had just brought them there. One, to learn the language, to learn Thai. So they'd get immersed in there. So they'd be there for a year. 6 months to a year and plus. The money would give me the time. And then absolutely.
So
I would follow childhood dreams of mine of stuff we could do, you know?
with you're still continuing in the sport.
Yep.
At a professional level still? You still have competitions anymore? No.
Not for a long time. I don't know if no more in the future. It just hasn't been in for a while.
Okay, now you're not in your circumcision anymore. Let's put it this way: you're not in your 20s. Okay,
Thank you.
you're a mature young man. If a fight came up at a professional level, would you accept it or no? What would it take for you to accept it first?
And would
So
you
if
be
I
ready?
accept it, if they gave me $100 million,
Okay,
I'm doing this.
So first of all, okay. Has there ever been a purse that you received for any price?
No, I've only fought amateur, so I didn't
So
receive any
you're-
purses.
So if there was a purse, what's the minimum you think it would be for you to get into this?
For me to go fight now?
Yes.
Like
A minimum purse.
a minimum, I'd probably say to fight as a professional.
It has to be someone, I guess, who has a little bit more, I'd go say a better record than you.
Okay, hold on. Let me go into my bladder.
You asked me to eat?
We're gonna take 5, everybody. Thank you.
Gary's back from his piss break, everybody. Anyway,
Should I ask? Do you have a question you want to ask?
no,
Okay.
I'm waiting
okay.
for you.
So the question I was trying to ask prior was, what would be the minimum purse for you to accept the fight at this stage? And let's just say, what's your record right now? All time. You can write it down on a piece of paper.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Anyone who's got a record who's done 10 fights or less.
Yeah. We'll do a live stream fundraiser.
Let me rephrase that then. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. What, now you want more, motherfucker?
Yeah, I do want more.
Do you see where the mentality's at? Why can't I get more?
Yes.
Hey, would you give me 10 grand to get knocked out?
Here's the thing. He's not saying that he's going to go in there to lose. He wants to go in there to fight.
Depends how much I offer him.
You take a dive?
100 grand to take a dive.
As an athlete,
Yeah.
as a fighter,
Yeah.
more money.
Come in first round, leave sick.
This is the big question right here. We'll beep this one out after. We can mute it here for this.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'll answer it.
No, and then we're going to raise the money. Yeah, and then we'll raise the money. Yeah. Whatever you say, we're just going to raise it. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll fight?
Yeah. And then we're going to stream whoever you're fighting in the fucking backyard here in the apartment complex.
Yeah, we'll have it right here.
There's literally no backyard. It's just a parking lot.
There's a field across the street. Yeah, north side fight.
Yeah, man. Street beat.
It could be a future project for us. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for your confidence. I appreciate it.
Come on. Yes, everyone's gonna have that moment of where it's like, well, would you do it? Would you do it for this?
Yeah, that's one of those questions. It's one of those questions that changes the more you think about it and every day and right. It's a what if question, and those are not the kind of questions that I really like. I do ask myself what if questions.
Everybody does.
And I like to do keep it in like a thing that I'll not get stuck on, because that is a wild thing to do. Because then who's to say, like, what is your life worth? That's basically what you're asking that question.
Absolutely.
Now, right? Because you can throw a fight and get hit and be done.
Yeah.
So I guess now you're asking, and that's priceless. At the end.
Then here's my question: is do you think in this day and age, the level of sensitivity or the threshold that people are willing to give up their morals for a monetary value, do you think it's at an all-time low? Like,
I think throughout life I've grown in those areas. I've learned to know what those areas are and what is crossing the line is not and what is not in those and for my values. What I do know is I never thought that lying to somebody, lying period, I've never found that as a good value for anything. 2, and then lying, and then because you're hurting people when you're taking that money from people and you're lying about something you're not going to do.
especially if they don't have that much money.
Yeah. 1, it sucks for those people. And 2, that is brutal, man, to lie. So you're lying affects other people, and it starts impacting people financially and in their life in other ways like that. Negatively, of course, I don't agree with that. That is madness.
Do you think there's like a spiritual aspect where it's like, where people say like it's bad juju? You know what I mean?
What's happening to the Firefest guy? What's happening? I'm pretty sure he's doing it.
I think he's doing another, but then you say like,
get out of here.
So then it's one of those things where you say, is that even a thing? Is the idea of karma, or I do on what others want?
I hope this something bad happens to the Firefest guy, because after watching that documentary, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But it's crazy the amount of scams and like rug pulls and shit, and then because they have a company or they have a shell company, or like they're so insulated, where it's how many walls you got to beat down to get to the mafia boss? How many underlings and
how many levels are there?
Like how, and then you say the amount of money that's going to require to be spent, the amount of investigating work, and then he's just going to declare bankruptcy anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Like when people look at what's an optimal life, like where people saw that family and like having generational wealth and like heritage, that used to be a very like strong aspect of people's living, where now it's like, how can I be very popular? How can I be worth a lot of money? How can I own the best things? And how can I live in the best area?
All by doing nothing?
Yeah, or by leveraging people's like naivism. So like leveraging the fact of like people are dumb or they need companionship or they're lonely. So I'm finding the chink in your armor and I'm fucking pulling out your soul. instead of like, right, to be your girlfriend or
Or
whatever.
someone just for cuddles.
Right. Or you hire like a professional cuddler. But you say too, like,
That's the thing.
how much are people getting thwarted?
It's okay. If someone's lonely and want to pay somebody to come cuddle them.
But
Everybody
this is the
just-
world we live in. I think it's changed so much because of social media and society.
And look how expensive shit is. It's almost a means to an end
Yeah.
to a degree.
But I also, and it's, we've been talking about this, I've been talking about this a lot for the last little while, is that COVID changed a lot. Changed a lot. And I'm not trying to say that wasn't OnlyFans a thing before that? I really don't.
I don't think
so. And then OnlyFans became a thing. And now look at it. It's like going to the strip club without having to leave your house. You can.
But is that just advancement in technology, though? Like, when you think about it, you look at AI and you look, and people are like, they frown upon it, whatever. But then you say, too, was this just expected to happen? Like, eventually this was going to happen.
Yeah,
with, like,
it's going to happen. Like, guys
right?
going to start having sex with dolls.
But how much, like, shit did YouTube get when it came out? How much shit did all these companies came out with these novelty ideas that they come out and they're like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So, like, people didn't grasp it. But it's interesting, too, because, like, people get so much shame for it. And then you, too, have, like, with all these other podcasts where it turns into a religious thing, where it's, oh, you're like sinning, where it's not even like about the money. It's no, like you as a woman have a purpose and this and that. Do you think like religion has been a big thing once COVID happened? Do you think that kind of went up in terms of the people that look for spirituality and faith and their families getting sick or like people are dying of COVID? How much did they lean to a higher power, and how much is that kind of leverage the society we have today?
I don't think a lot's changed with that. I don't think people have gotten less faithful or more faithful. I think it's just the same. I think people probably turned to whatever savior or lord that they have in that time because the world was a very scary place and no one exactly knew what was happening.
Right.
But I don't think, in a sense, a lot of it has changed where Christianity, we've converted like 20,000 more people, and we got to keep these numbers up. We got to keep this going. You know what I mean? I don't think that was really a thing. I think it's more either people like, for example, my family. We were born and raised Catholic Christian.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, obviously, they couldn't go to church when COVID was happening, so they found other means. There was whatever channel cable that,
Or
had,
like you have
their
YouTube channels
source,
now
there
that
was
do it.
YouTube channels or whatever. So they were doing that for a bit until they were allowed to go. They felt comfortable enough to go back into the church when they were reopened and everything, obviously. But I think everyone had to deal with everything that they were doing in a different way.
Do you think, and I asked Faber, who was a guest, episode 5, check him out. I asked Faber this question. I said, do you think religion generationally is getting less and less because of the amount of information that people have? It's not the spotlight where like the amount of opportunities that you may have, the likelihood of, say, like I asked Faber, I said, when you look at Palestine and Israel, I was like, when you have your daughter, I was like, does your daughter care as much about this conflict and the religious conflict? And does your father care as much as your grandfather? And do you care as much as your father? Right? Go ahead.
No. My parents were very Catholic. My mom still practices and still goes to church, which is fine. I've probably been a few times since high school. So in my early 20s is probably when I stopped altogether. So do I think if I was to have children when I raise them, they might be Catholic, sure. They might be brought
But
up
on their own volition.
possibly.
Like,
Also depending on
would you be one like
who's going to advocate it. And
I look at one of my coworkers and he's like religious, and like him and his wife are like, I don't want to say very religious because I have no idea of their inner workings. Okay. But to my opinion, I'd say they're like bought in. Like they have a church group, they go to church every Sunday, they bring their daughter to church. With that, there's a good prediction that their daughter will end up being like heavily Christian because of the amount of influence that's put on them, right? As I didn't have the same amount of influence, I don't think I would put the same amount of influence on my children when I have them. But do you think that's a good or bad thing? Or do you think it's really just inconclusive?
You want to chime in? I think that personally for me, like I said, I'm not the same as my parents as they were growing up. Like I don't practice anymore. I don't like, it's not that it's not for me. It's just outgrown it. It doesn't really interest me anymore. I went to a Catholic high school, I went to a Catholic elementary school, done all that. Again, it's not that I didn't learn. It's not that I wasn't taught or brought up on that. It's just...
Did you have any moment where you were like, I don't think this is for me?
I didn't like waking up early for Sunday morning mass.
Facts.
So I'll say
Facts.
that. And every time I did go to mass, I said, well, it's not even like I could control it. It was like the priest was hypnotizing you in a sense, where he would be, I'm going to read the gospel now.
Doing.
And when he's reading the gospel, immediately my eyes just shut and I was out.
Did you get a finger to your butthole?
I was not an altar boy. No, I was just in church with my family, in case you were listening.
I'm just wondering.
But with other things, like with the family, like if in upbringing, I think all of us, for example, will say this. I think all of us can agree. If we were to have children, we are going to push them into something or show them something that's active and physical and something to maintain either camaraderie with other adolescents their age, something that's going to teach them discipline, structure, and it's going to be active so they can play some sort of sport, be athletic, and run them and tire them out. I think all parents do that until the child is able or old enough to say, I don't want to do this anymore. But some parents even still don't allow it to happen. They'll still force them or push them into something. I think someone here in this room probably pushed the kid into basketball. I don't know.
Just a shot in the dark.
Shot in the dark, baby.
Yeah.
But who knows if he's going to like it? Who knows? You know what I mean? I think that'll be like, you're going to keep doing this until... Signs of disrespect.
Yeah, I'm still struggling to find that balance of what exactly am I looking for? Like
in what now? A partner or
no? I just look at is the way of my mindset or the way that I'm thinking of how I want to go through life. Is it like appropriate to what I'm trying to do? And I am like, I gonna be satisfied at the end? Or I've asked like a couple of people, hey, do you mind if like I sit in at church with you? Because not the fact that I want to be extremely religious or anything like that, but it's maybe there's something I'm not getting. Like maybe there's something about this world or something about the energy or spirituality or whatever it is that is just not clicking with me. I call these people Bible thumpers and I say, it's crazy that these people want to go to church. But then I say, yeah, but they seem like satisfied. So do I need to adopt all of their practices? Maybe not. But there were a lot of people that I would consider like role models and mentors that were like extremely Catholic, where I was like, I could never be them, but there's some things that I can like take from them where it's like integrity, character.
I look at, there's a lot of people that are, I don't know, let's say Jewish or Judaism, or they're Buddhists or they're Christian or Catholic. And then along the lines, they might read something else and then say, I can relate more to this than I do to the other.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody just start picking up another book and they'll just start reading that. And then all of a sudden, oh, this works for me. So I don't think that it's not always going to be passed down or molded into you or shaped into you or suggested for you to you from such an early age. I think it's always fluctuating. It's always changing. Not that the religions are changing, but I think your thoughts as you're developing and growing, you're not going to see things the same all the time.
No,
and I think that's going to change.
But there's okay. You're engaged, correct?
I'm engaged. Yeah. No, I'm married.
You're married. Sorry. Congratulations. While you were single, was there any moment in time where you said, is the way I'm living my life not appealing to find a partner? Because like you look at some people and they like want to adapt to like whatever person they're trying to get.
They're a chameleon.
But do you think that you like maintained your individuality when you went into a relationship, got married, this and that? Or do you feel like you had to relinquish a lot of things that you gave a fuck about in order to appease, but simply just to mate with someone?
Yeah, of course.
But like how much do you give away that's detrimental to you? Be as generic as you want.
No, I tell her. We talk about these things. So she knows.
This is true.
And I know how much exactly.
Well, transparency is probably the most important thing.
This is one thing that
yeah, and it's been right, and we all know about that in relationships and how important that is and how to do it. And it's an area of growth for everyone. This is a super important area. Communication, having good communication, and I guess for where I was in life before I met my wife, I was in a transition stage between what I was doing in my life, and we touched this on this bit the last time we were talking in conversation. I was in a transition in my life. I'm like, what am I doing? where am I going? Because I was also in my late 20s.
Right.
I was also like in my late 20s. And I was like, and we would have these talks at the 4 a.m. talks with your buddies after the bar. And you'd be sitting there and you'd be talking. And I'm like, but so where I was stuck with was here is where I am. And I want to be there. Because here is not fun anymore. It's not giving me all the things that I think, all the goals that I want. Right. This is not taking me.
But did you just like exhaust your fun?
Yes and no. Yes. Yeah. I went through the part. I didn't go through I wasn't like done with fun or done with having a good time or done with immaturity. I'm still every day, you know? So I was ready. I was ready for the type of fun I was ready for my fun to change. I didn't know what that looked like. I seen it.
Were you scared?
And I didn't know. Yeah, I was scared and ready.
But some people are naive. Like some people are
settling down and spending your time with just one individual is a scary moment, especially if you're trying to, especially work it out for the long haul. I don't think that's a frightening matter.
And if you've had prior relationships that have gone the distance and have collapsed, then you say like, how hard is the rebuild? Right? Where has this been the first like engagement, or has this been like, have you had these kind of like deep relationships with someone else, and like how has that been for you? And has this been like a hard thing to be like, am I sure about this? Is this chick gonna break my fucking heart?
I think before you answer, I think that's always going to be a thought in everyone's mind. And I say this because I was just hanging out with my nephew not too long ago, and he is 10 years old, and he had a little girlfriend. For the first, I was back in Ontario for a month, and I saw him for the first week, and I was there, and he had a girlfriend. The next week, he did not.
Uh-oh.
And it was a very touchy subject. He was not happy. He didn't want to talk about it.
And pour one for the homie.
But at the same time, he's 10, and he's learned. I don't think it is his first heartbreak, but he's learned heartbreak. And I think that it's not going to stop him, because he's like a grown in the class. But at the same time, he's 10 years old. It's not going to be a big deal.
Do you think your experience was the same at 10 years old?
I think yes. Let's just say yes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
We hold hands.
Okay.
Like it was the thing to do. You see it on TV. You see all your friends and peers and stuff like that go through it, but you really don't know the idea of it. But then once you go into your mid-20s, because you see high school sweethearts and people that date in high school and they go on to get married and have kids and they're lifelong lovers. And then you get into a high school relationship and you think you have the same trajectory as these guys. And then something happens, you guys break up, you're single for a couple of years, you get back on the saddle, and then you're like, fuck man, is this chick? But some people don't interpret it. And especially when you're looking at it as a 16-year-old. That's the end of the... What? I'm not 16, but I'm saying when I was 16, right? That was like the end of the world. Yeah. So those emotions carry with you of what you felt, right? Sure. So then when you go into other relationships, that's obviously going to bottle up and be like, oh, am I like getting myself into the same thing?
Okay. And I had this conversation. Okay. I went on a date with a woman, and we had this conversation, and she was like, I've been hurt before, and I don't really know what to do. It's not that she didn't know what to do, because obviously we were on a date. But she's like,
knew what to do.
Exactly. So we were talking, but I'm like, you can't sit here and be vulnerable anymore. We're at this stage. We're doing this.
Yeah, you need to heal past that.
Yeah, and I get that we have experiences that have hurt us, and my own friends from trying new things, but it's like, we're already on step number one. We're both out together on a date, officially, and we're doing something.
Right.
And I'm like talking to her, and she's like, you're really talking something like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just keep things to myself and not open up? And I don't know what's going on this day. Yeah. Because like all dates, they usually say the first date's always like an interview, and you need to find out what this person's right for you, and blah, blah, blah. So it's just, why are we here if we're not going to try to at least test the water to see what this is?
Yeah.
If you don't, after the date or the couple of dates, whatever happens, if you're not interested, then fine, so be it. Not your cup of tea or whatever. But don't lie about it. And at the same time, if we're here, don't call me out for trying to test the waters and see where it's possibly lead to, or me being vulnerable. It's basically what she was at. She's like saying, I don't want to be vulnerable in my situation. So I'm vulnerable. And then now you're in an island. It doesn't work. Yeah. And like, so I threw myself out there. At least I gave it a try. You know what I mean? And are you saying you're holding yourself back from not being 100% you in the situation, or what? So if that's the case, you probably shouldn't be saying you want to grow with people.
Right.
That's what.
And that's funny.
That was my impression in my head.
And it's funny you say that because I had this thought in my head where I was like, is it actually more beneficial to go on a blind date? Did I leave too much to the technology to like ruin my like ability?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I get it, but I don't. That's for you to decide.
Speed dating. I'm like, yo, I'm trying speed dating.
Maybe you should. Then we'd like to hear back.
Dude, I'm going speed dating. Only because
if anyone out there in the Edmonton area knows any speed dating opportunities and
Hit me up.
places, do please hit us up.
Yeah.
Let Ryan know where he. When's this?
July 6th.
July 6th, baby. That's a speed dating.
Unmask my date.
$20.
30.
What?
Oh, 28 plus.
28 plus. Okay.
29, bro.
I wasn't saying it like that. I was just saying.
No, I'm just saying. But then I'm gonna go there, and it's gonna be all 40-year-olds.
Is there something wrong for you?
No, I'm just saying they might see me as too young.
Tomorrow,
Sorry, where?
Central Social Hall, Dayton Dash, 25 to 35 years.
Date and
I don't want to go. It's not for me. It's for him, man.
dating and dashing. That doesn't sound like a good term. I want one with the buzzer.
Here's one for Luton. June 25th. The Bellin
39 to 48.
4 to 43.
Sorry, what?
Does the people already know that you're single?
43.
Yeah, Lubin. Hey, for anybody that's watching, Lubin is single, but it is because although we changed our name, we still want to establish ourselves as single men. We're still in the market. I want to make sure everybody knows we're here for everybody, not together, individual.
We're very inclusive for everyone.
we're-
It also is. It's
Position.
Let's get back to our guests then.
Here, you gotta say something.
Yeah, McGeary. What are you thinking, man?
Would you ever consider being in a couple?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Or here's my question: what if your wife proposed? What if your wife proposed like being like swingers? Do you think that's something you'd be like?
I think that's a conversation between.
Oh, I think that's normal. Well, do you think that being a swinger is normal?
I don't have a definition of what normal is, man.
That's
Who
fair.
knows what it is, man? Everybody's personal life is different, and everybody chooses what works best for them. And if you make a decision as a single, as a couple, and I think if it's helping your relationship and you guys are making each other happy and whatever else is going on, and do whatever you want. I don't care. I have no idea. There's
I
people
get
on
hella
islands out there who have like wild things going on. So who am I? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't even think about it. It's not.
Do you think you're a jealous person?
Okay. I'm a jealous person. And I'm not going to say that it's healthy or unhealthy. I think the way you use it is rather how it's going to be healthy or not healthy. If you use it in a way where you, okay, he can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. And you start pulling yourself up to where that bar is and you continue to strive, then that's a healthy way. Now, you can take it unhealthily where you're like, and you put yourself down and be like, man, I can't do that. We can give ourselves a million reasons why we can't do something.
Right.
We can give ourselves a million reasons why we can do something. And it just depends on that mindset right there where you start to go. And wherever it keeps going, and we talked about this last time too.
Yeah.
Like, that voice in your head and being able to, like, I think Goggins calls it. That's the end in your head. That's the bitch part in your head that is pulling you down. Clapping in the bucket, pulling the bitch part, saying that you can do it, giving lots of reasons on why that's too tough. You don't have the time, you don't have the money, whatever the reason is, and you're not feeling it. And if you let that part win, then that thought becomes negative. And you let the other side positive, like, that person can do it, I can do it. I just gotta take it one day at a time. I just make this step. I just gonna make this plan. And you start going in the way that's pulling you and climbing towards that goal that you want, then that's a positive. And no mindset really is good or bad or negative and positive until you let it go in a way that's not helpful. It's not constructive.
And this is a question that I think Lubin, like, this is to get him in the conversation a bit. But what we talked about in the interview was, do you have a set of like internal dialogue? Like when you're going through shit, do you find you're often like talking to yourself? Or do you find like you have people that live in the moment, and there's some people that legitimately say like you have an inner voice? That's very weird. And then there's some people that are like, my inner voice is my best friend. Where, again, it gets delusional and psychotic, but to some degree, you say the people that are most self-aware have a dialogue with their self or like a self-understanding of, oh, heart rate's coming up. Okay, let's
Yes, I have one all the time,
all the time.
every day. Yeah, whether that's, hey, I'm going to go to the gym today. I'm going to lift 10 pounds heavier today on this. Am I going to do this? Can I do this? How am I going to do this for? I don't know. Let's figure it out. Let's just give it a go. Let's try it.
So it's more of a positive than it is a negative.
No, sometimes it's just
Because
negative. Sometimes for sure it's negative. I am my own worst critic and my own worst
so
enemy.
do you think that your internal dialogue also affects your mental well-being, or do you think the internal dialogue and the fire that lights under your ass enhances you in the end?
I think that it's a positive internal dialogue, but I think it's very rational and it's very honest. It'll weigh every situation before I do something. I'll look at it from every kind of perspective as I possibly can. If I do this, what's going to happen this way? If I do this, what's going to happen this way? If I do this, can I still do this if I want to do that? Can that happen?
But like, how do you sit with that? Do you think it's like a power imbalance of sometimes you treat yourself really shitty and you have to bring yourself back? And like, how much do you think your own internal dialogue is like building you up to the next steps, or how much do you think it's like bringing you down?
I think that first off, it helps obviously to check in with yourself all the time. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing. I think it's always good and healthy to check in with yourself one way or another. Has it always been positive? No. Has it always been negative? No. But I think that voice has helped me do some good things in my life, but also do some pretty dumb things too.
Probably some impulsive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, have I said things to people that No, I've said this before. Not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone is going to appreciate you. And that is something that took a long, I shouldn't say it took a long time, but it did take longer than it should for me to realize, hey, I'm not going to be everybody's friend.
And this brings me back to Gordon Ramsay's three non-negotiables. You know the third one?
Yeah.
No,
Only
so-
done one so far today.
I only done one. Do you remember what it is?
No.
Take it professionally, not personally. So when you look at life, you say there's people that don't have the same intentions as me, and they're looking at it from a completely different lens. So I need to understand that this is a transactional conversation, and I need to be okay with that the intentions are not the same.
Some people are just stupid.
Yeah, again. So the third one is not trying to impress everybody in the room. And just like you're saying, you can't impress everybody. And one of Gordon Ramsay's things is you have to be okay with pissing people off.
Facts, I agree.
He said being told off is fucking healthy.
So that's why he tells people off on the show?
He was like, being told off is fucking healthy.
You know what? I'm being healthy with all. Go fuck you.
You would have
Oh,
pause.